Hey, where's my shirt? Anybody seen my shirt? No, no, seriously, where's my shirt?
This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. My name is Anthony, and this podcast is called The Voiceover's Journey. You know, this podcast is all about helping the voiceover artist who's on a journey to become a full-time VO. Tonight, we have a really special episode because I'm super excited to be talking about actually how to create your own demo. So, you know, it's a huge, huge thing in the voiceover industry. It is probably the number one way that you can market yourself is your own demo. You need one. You can do a few little things without a demo, but about 90% of everything that you're going to market yourself with is a demo. And then all the different platforms and different marketing methods all use a demo at the core of that strategy. So tonight I want to talk about how to create your own DIY demo. And I'm really excited about this because I've put together my own DIY demo recently, and it was really exciting. There's so much out there about, you've got to work with a professional. You've got to have it done right. You got to spend the money. Sometimes demos can cost $2,000-$3,000. And, you want a professional demo. And I don't think that any of us ever think that we're never going to have one. But, when you're just starting out, you're real green, like you've been in the business a couple of weeks, a month, even a year, maybe you're not making a lot of money, or maybe you've made just a little bit of money. You can't drop $2,000-$3,000 on a demo. So it's really nice to be able to make your own. So tonight I'm going to go over just a couple of things that you can do to make your own demo and get you up and running so that you can get on some sites that you can start marketing yourself and, start marketing yourself a little bit to, through social media, as well as do some direct marketing. I will say that there are a lot of professionals who are, marketing themselves, and they are using commercial or professionally done demos. And, if you go out into the marketplace and your demo is lacking, you're going to be held back by that. But, I have to tell you, there is the, either the chicken or the egg, right? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? So this is kind of where I've come to now after being in voiceover for over a year, is that if you wait until you have everything perfect, you're going to be waiting forever. And that includes a demo. So there are a lot of people who say, don't go and try this without a, real expensive demo, but you can do these little things over here, but don't try to do this. And, maybe they're right. But, I say, well, what the hell? Why not? Give it a shot. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing. I mean, that's already happening now. So you might as well give it a shot. And what you might find is that you might find that it's not really that bad. And then, the worst case scenario is they don't get back to you. And I really don't think burning a bridge is really quite accurate, because I think if you're respectful to the customer and you're trying to offer them a service that is going to benefit them, you know what I mean? It might not be the right time, or you might not be ready, or they might not be, interested in your type service that you're offering at that moment, but it might be something that you can do in the future. So anyways, moving forward with DIY demo. So let's lay this out. So anyways, a demo is a series of tracks, all right, recordings that you put together that creates about a minute, no more than a minute and a half long recording of you and the different variety of things you can do. There are many different types of demos. The number one demo that I'm going to be talking about tonight is a commercial demo. as you guys know who listen to this podcast, I do a lot of audiobooks, but recently I've started to get into e-learning as well as explainer videos, doing a little bit of commercial work here and there. And, and of course, I always do some character work. So, doing a commercial demo is probably by far the demo that everyone is going to look at first, no matter who they are or what company they're with. It's a good place to start. So anyways, the first thing I want to say is that you're going to lay out this demo with 6 to 7 different recordings or tracks. Okay. Each one of those tracks should be between 6 to 12 seconds long. They can be longer. All right. But if you think about, if you have, 6 tracks at 12 seconds, that's 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and 72, right? So that's a minute and 12 seconds. So that's perfect, okay? And with them varying back and forth, maybe some are a little bit more, maybe some are a little bit less. But you basically want to stick to 6 or 7 tracks and between 6 to 12 seconds apiece, okay? The next thing you're going to want to look for is your scripts. So here's something really cool. So, okay, I have to be honest. It's probably been one of the biggest things that have held me back from creating my demo is the script. And it's silly because, I've been in theater for most of my life. I know I can write, but, it was just this hurdle or obstacle in my mind that was causing me not to be able to actually, move forward with creating my own demo. Now, I've created demos in the past, and they've all been basically from work that I've done, either from Fiverr or Voice Bunny or anything like that. And they were just mini tracks and stuff that I put together. And that you can do that. That's absolutely wonderful. But I wanted to venture out and actually create my own demo from scratch. So anyways, what I did was I started doing some research. And as I started doing some research on YouTube and, I took a couple classes, I began to realize that, there is nothing that says that we can't use actual commercials that have been done before. Now, you can take the words, all right, that you find from these commercials, and you can reword them a little bit and change them around to fit yourself or your dynamic. But the reality is that we're not selling this. No one is going to care. Okay, I mean, now I have to admit, if you do something really famous, or if you pick a commercial or a spot that's really super famous, and you do everything the same way, someone's going to recognize that, and then they're not necessarily going to wonder why you did. They're going to wonder, can you be something unique on your own? So, it's good to find, there's so much out there that's available, and YouTube is such a fantastic spot. So if you go to YouTube and you just type in commercials, type in radio commercials, type in explainer videos, type in, retail commercials, type in car commercials, any type of commercials you can type in, YouTube will just come up with everything. And a really cool thing about YouTube as well, if that you didn't know, there's a transcribe button. So if you hit the transcribe button, which is in the bottom right of, it's those little dots, those 3 little dots underneath the screen on the bottom right of the actual video screen, it has a transcribe now, and it will literally transcribe the video, the words in the video. This option is not for all of them, but for the most of them, I found, like pretty much all of them, it is. So it's really, really cool. So not only does it, you can see the video and hear the music, but you can transcribe it. Now, a quick thing on music. For this particular one, I'm going to recommend that you don't use any music, just because starting out, it's difficult to mix in music while you're actually doing the read. And I mean, what I mean by that, of course, you'd mix in the music after. But what I'm saying is knowing how to engineer the music bed and understanding that when you talk, the music bed needs to come down while still going in the background. And when you stop talking, it needs to come back up. And, there's a lot of things that go on with mixing the music, and then you got to find the right music. And, there's so much to do. So we're just going to focus on reading at the moment. So so moving forward, so you put these, you find these commercials, you transcribe them, okay? And, you want to try to find 6 different types of reads, okay? You're going to really search for different types of reads. So, you want one read that's going to be your, guy or gal next door, okay? You're going to want the next read to be maybe a corporate narration read, okay? Maybe, something like, Ford, or, you're doing some sort of training series, okay? The next thing, like e-learning. So that kind of goes into e-learning, but e-learning is not necessarily corporate, because e-learning covers a wide range of different types of, history and arts, and, it can be anything. So anyway, so you want to do something with e-learning, then you're going to want to do an explainer video, okay? Some sort of explainer, whiteboard explainer videos. They're really, really super hot right now, and that's something good that you can do. You also want to do something authoritative, okay? You want to do something like authoritative, and, you also want to do something high energy, upbeat, lots of excitement, all right? And then, you're going to want to do something low-key, nice and easy, where your voice and your volume gets down a little bit lower. You slow down, and you sell a Honda Genesis. Anyways, so you're going to want to pick those 6 or 7 different topics I just went over, and you're going to want to look for those commercials in those videos and make those your reads. You're going to transcribe the commercials when you find them on YouTube, change around some of the words if you want, but I really don't think you need to. Some people are going to say you have to change the words. I'm going to say, no, you don't, because no one's going to say anything to you unless they pick, unless you're auditioning for someone who wrote that commercial or produced that commercial, which is highly unlikely. Okay, but or they're it's so famous that everybody and their sister knows it. You don't need to worry about it. Just use the stuff. No one says you can't, and you can cut and splice them so they're not the same, because you're not going to take an entire minute and a half commercial. You're going to narrow it down to 6 to 12 seconds. So use that as a source, and then you have unlimited amount of scripts that you can use. Okay, so you're going to find those 6 or 7 different types. You're going to transcribe them, put them in your notepad, on a piece of paper, in a Word document or whatever, okay? And then you're going to open up your DAW, all right? And you are going to record each one of these as a separate track, all right? I've had a kind of a recent, I don't know, epiphany, if you will. I guess this only comes from doing it or hearing someone tell you about it or not, but there's this huge idea out there, or at least I had this idea that I had to, when I recorded my voice, I had to put it through this crazy process of equalizing my voice and doing all of this stuff to it, and compressing it and doing all these things. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it, but what I'm going to say is that I think less is more. And I'm going to run through kind of 3 different processes that you should take. So, and this would be after you've recorded your track, all right, what to do with that raw file. Okay, so one of the things you want to do is when you listen back to it, your goal here is for your voice to be as natural sounding as possible. I mean, close enough to your voice, or what it sounds like in real time. So we don't want to amplify it at first. What we want to do is we want to try to subtract any of the frequencies that are making it sound less like us and more like something else. Like if you get a muffled sound, you might want to go into your EQ You can go into like a 10 or 20 band EQ depending on what DAW you're using. I use Adobe Audition, so it's easy. There's different bands of EQ in here. So I just like go into a 10 band EQ, and I can pull down some of the lower frequencies to where my voice doesn't sound as muffled. Okay, it starts to sound a little more natural. Or maybe I sound really, really, really tinny. You know what I mean? And so I will go into that EQ and I'll pull down some of the higher frequencies. All right. If you think of treble and bass, high and low, you can start and fixing that so that your voice sounds more natural. And I really think you just need to focus on subtracting right now. Okay. Adding stuff really, starts to turn your voice into something that's unnatural. And you might do it, you might be like, wow, this sounds really good. But the finished product on the other end actually doesn't sound like you. It's an unnatural sound, and less is more. So let's say you've done that. You've EQ'd your voice if you needed it. Then you want to, there's some things you can do quickly, but be careful with this to help your sound become more fuller, and that's compression. Compression. The idea behind compression is when you take sound waves and the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Basically, what you're doing on the highest of the highs is you're compressing. Okay, you're compressing those high peaks down, and the low waves, you are expanding those so that basically you are trying to make the sound of your track more full, more robust. All right, so that it's more even keel between from the whole piece, so that you don't get these wild peaks, and then you don't get super low volume peaks as well. So that's compression. But here's the challenge with compression. It's tricky, and you've got to do it right. So my suggestion is, if you want to look into that, go onto YouTube, okay, and look up compression and, how to compress your voice, compression, a DAW for voiceovers, all that stuff. You'll find so much. It's all there. So that's the other thing. The next thing would be a hard limiter. And a hard limiter, and I know you can do this in Audacity as well, and I know Pro Tools and everything has it, depending on what your DAW is. But a hard limiter basically means that it limits how high your volume can go. So, if you set your hard limiter at -3 dB, which is what you should, it shouldn't go over that, you will stop any sound from going up to -3 dB. So that's a really good thing to do. And a lot of hard limiters also allow you to bring up the volume of everything else and then stop it right at that ceiling. So bring up the volume of the whole piece, and then it stops it. So it becomes this even, nice, loud, but controlled sound from beginning to end. So anyways, those are the 3 things that I would recommend you doing, and take some time and look them up. Okay. And what you're going to do after you've recorded all them and you've done some EQ and some back-end editing, like I just talked about with compression and hard limiting, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put it all into one file. Now, depending on what your DAW is, Digital Audio Workspace, like I said, I use Adobe Audition, so I can just open a multi-track and I can just put one after the other in the different beds. However, it's also easy to just copy and paste into a new file every track, and do it that way. So that the idea is that you start at the beginning and it goes through, and it's pretty, there's a nice transition between each one to the other. Okay. And you want to play around with these and see how they work, see how people react to them. Okay. And it's it's a trial and error. Everything is a test. So, that's how I created my DIY or my demo. And I really recommend you go out and do your own too. You can, if you can afford to, pay for one, that's great. But I actually think that it's a really good idea to just mess around and do your own, because the reality is like when I was doing my demo, I must have read like, each one of the reads, each one of the tracks I did, I read, quite a bit of takes. I just did one take after another, and I tried to do things a little different. I tried to do a little subtle things differently. I tried to do different things with my voice. So because of that, I think, I really started to see what I could do on different types of reads and how to, manipulate my voice. And that practice that I'm always talking about, it really works out. So, give it a shot, go for it. Don't be afraid to try your hardest. And I guess the last thing I'm going to leave you with the demo is, again, you are trying to show the difference in your voice and all the different things you can do. So you don't want them all to sound the same. You want them to sound different. You want the guy next door to sound way different than the high energy, upbeat, sales pitch, where it's upbeat and you're starting to sell something and you're going to let everybody know that you've got this, special limited offer today kind of thing, So it's really important for you to take the time and make a change. I heard a really cool thing from Scott Brick, who's a very famous audiobook narrator. And, he said that, when you're doing a demo, it's really good. If you can't do it on different days, he recommends that you try to do one demo reading or one track per day. And the idea behind that is that, if you leave and then you come back the next day, you're going to be in a different mindset. You're not going to sound the same. And you'll be able to give a different read a lot easier. But, if you don't have the time, you can also get up and walk around, do something that will, get you to another place. And, don't be afraid to psych yourself up. Use emotions. If you're doing high energy, you really need to get, excited, and you need to get with a high energy, and you need to start getting up and above everybody else, and if you've got a low type of a tone, you really want to start trying to put yourself in that mindset. So the idea with all of this stuff is, to really try to make it sound different, but of course, keeping your voice the same, meaning that it's you, not somebody else. So anyways, I hope this helps, and I would love to hear y'all's DIY demos. So if you go out and make one, please do, and send me, upload it here, send me a message where I can go see it, whether you put it on your website or you post it somewhere on another site, or whatever you're doing with it, you put it on SoundCloud, let me know, and I'd love to come and listen to it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to hear your demos. All right, have a great night. Peace.